welcome to all of you. Firstly, it's very cool to watch that on the big screen. Before we kick off, Abhishek, you want to introduce your team in the audience who've worked on the show?
Yeah, our crew and cast members, please raise your hand. We've got, stand up, all of you guys, stand up, come on. Come on, guys. Yeah, a big round of applause for these guys.
So I had two thoughts when I watched the show. The first one was I can't remember the last time I watched such a delicious dark comedy. And the second one, which I'm sure all of you will agree, what a great start to the year. So congratulations to all of you. Manoj, I want to start with you. Please correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time we're seeing Manoj Bajpayee in a double role. I might be wrong.
Netflix has promoted it as double role, but I believe that it's triple role.
We'll come to the triple role.
Yeah, triple role. I don't know. It hasn't come till now. So yeah, I mean, there is a surprise when these guys start watching the third one. Yes, yes, it's right that this is something for the first time that I have ventured into, and rest only Abhishek will tell you.
No, but I want to ask you, it looks like you were having such a blast. Fine, it was only one episode where we saw you in two roles because this show loves to kill characters, as you guys will find out. But just talk me through the process of creating Umesh and Prabhu and differentiating them, because it looked like you were having an absolute blast doing it.
See, yes, I mean, acting is our job, and we are very passionate about it. What is the most fascinating thing about it, that you have Abhishek Chaubey. You know that he has your back, and you know that you can just go ahead and explore yourself. You know that at the end of the day, if there is something which is going wrong, he's going to tell you, and it was very challenging. It was very demanding. Yes, it didn't show when we were shooting. Sometimes Coco gets completely surprised. अच्छा कहाँ पे कितना challenging था, वहाँ तो दिख नहीं रहा था, लेकिन Coco was the only one who was rehearsing her line 50 times. But it was because in the early in the morning, I'm getting ready for the burnt face, that character. And then in the afternoon, you are doing Prabhakar, who's the nasty one. And in the evening, you are doing Umesh, who's the romantic one. So there was no luxury of really getting into the character getting into the skin of the character, as you really put it. So we were exploring, we were taking it as it comes every day. It was challenging to find the soul, to really find the right pitch. It was real, but not real at all. It was, as Abhishek says, it's a hyper-realism in this series. And that hyper-realism can be defined many ways, okay? एक बार मैंने पूछा अभिषेक से, अभिषेक यार मुझे लग रहा है थोड़ा लाउड है. नहीं सर, यहाँ तो सही लग रहा है, ठीक ही होगा. So that's how we're just going by the gut, going by this instinct.
But speaking of hyperrealism, for me, the most distinctive thing about this show is the very specific tone. It's wacky, it's weird, it's outrageous and insane, but it's also, the stakes are very real. There's a lot of tension and drama, and it's surprisingly emotional sometimes also. So, Abhishek, how tough was it to really get that mood right? And for the both of you, how tough was it to bring that mood to life in the performances?
To start with, as far as the tone of the show is concerned, I'll have to credit my writers and the creators of the show, Uneza, Harshad, and Anant. When they came to me, guys, yeah. So when they came to me back in 2019, they had written out some stuff. The first episode was reasonably fleshed out, and there was some sense of the story. Then we started working. But what caught my eye was the tone. It was right there. And the first scene in that draft was the scene in which Nader has the accident. So I read that and I knew this is something that I can, do well. I can enjoy myself while I'm at it, and we just took off from there. So when we met the first time, also I don't think we discussed the nuts and bolts of the story so much. We spoke more about the tenor. We spoke more about the mood, and we just really wanted to catch that.
And what about the both of you? How tough was it to get that? Because it's a very specific tone you're sort of bringing to life.
I don't know about the tone, because, these things are now being slowly revealed to me, to be honest. Now I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my God. I think I'm being able to also see it properly now. I think that possibly at that time, I mean, I was trying to look at it. I was seeing it from Swati's point of view only, very naturally, and in that sense, it's helpful because she's very purposeful. Constantly, things are happening. Constantly, she has a plan. Constantly, she has to deal with things. So she's very busy, you know. She's very busy. And then Abhishek was there, and I trust him entirely. So, and once he had told me this thing about, because it was a little confusing sometimes, but it is really sad for her. Those men treat her very badly, you know. And yeah, and they are much bigger fraudsters and criminals, I feel. But Abhishek had once said to me that, think of it like a graphic novel, or that he had once thought of it as a graphic novel. And immediately, I could visualize panels of like, no, and all those, I could see Swati like that. And that actually helped me somewhere, because very serious things also happen in comic books, like in these superhero books or whatever.
But I also think that this show is, in terms of the performances, it's a masterclass in actors playing characters who are constantly performing. Manoj, you're playing Umesh, playing Prabhu, while also trying not to lose sight of Umesh. Konkona, you're playing Swati, who is constantly performing for different people. I have this theory that she has a spreadsheet which she uses just to keep track of all the lies she's telling different people.
That should have been my prep.
So, was it fun, or was it a lot of calculation when you're playing characters who are themselves always performing?
No, I really want Coco to just go ahead and explain herself.
No, I don't have much to explain. The script that way was very useful. And, I think, I honestly, I don't know. I don't have the answer to this question as such, because I think we were always dealing with immediate problems. And there were times when I didn't see it from an outside point of view. And it just seemed like the most natural thing to do. I think it's because it's so well written and it's so well fleshed out that, that is the guide. So if ever even you're stuck, or even if you're not sure, the scene is written so well, the dialogues are written so well that it makes your job quite easy for you.
No, with me, yeah, she's very right. Because Abhishek has said it so many times. It's 450 pages, and in the writers and Abhishek, they have really fleshed it out so well. Everything was there. All the informations were there. You just had to, go through it again and again. But my problem was that, they should not at all sound similar. And they should look different people from different planet completely. And as soon as you look at Umesh, or hear Umesh, you should know the backstory of him, or you should know Prabhakar Shetty when he's entering the house. When you hear his house, you should have some kind of jitters going down his spine. All of it was there in my mind, but to really do it, so there was lot many questions and doubts which were really coming to me all the time.
Even when you're playing Umesh playing Prabhu.
Yeah. So when Umesh is playing Prabhakar, that were time, it was a fun time, but at the same time, you had to be very, very clever and wise at the same time. You are clever here, you are wise here. So during those times, we used to interact quite a lot. Sometime when people will watch it again, they will realize that I actually tried to limp on a wrong foot sometime, because he really forgets and sometimes he really forgets which is the right voice for Prabhakar and which is not. So he's goofing up all the time. He's not caught because everybody thinks that after the accident, Prabhakar Shetty has lost his plot. Okay, so they are forgiving. They're forgiving. Nobody is doubting him. But that was the time, it was giving us a lot of possibility. It was giving us a free time to really go ahead and explore Pramesh, as we call him. He's Prabhakar and Umesh, both. He's Pramesh for us. And that's why I say that, I played 3 roles in this one.
And just coming to the wider cast, I keep joking that, it's such a cool ensemble of actors. I keep saying that if you look at any square inch of any scene, just the acting talent coming out of it is very, very cool. So you've got Nasir in a way that I think we haven't seen him, at least in recent times, as this sort of retired cop who's given up. We've got Lal as this very sort of, as Lucas, this foreboding presence that's very, very unsettling. You've got the actor who plays Tupali, which is a character I absolutely love. Who's in the audience.
Stand.
You've got one of my favorite characters, Arvind Shetty, who's just an absolute blast, who's in the audience.
Sayaji sir.
So what went into assembling these Avengers? and what went into making sure that all of them were tonally in the same show?
It helps when your producer is also your casting director, right? So Honey, who's somewhere here, I guess. So Honey is the casting director. We worked a very, very long time, very wisely, because there was a lot of casting to be done from the Tamil film industry and from Kerala. So we had Varsha and Pooja, who were casting directors down there, who did an amazing job of assembling all of these people. And yes, there were the Nasirs and the Lals who were very well established, Sayaji sir, very well established, well-known names. But there were also a lot of younger talent, lot of talent from theatre, from Bangalore, Hyderabad. We've covered all the big cities down south of the Vindhyas. So all of getting these guys, and watching them work was one of the joys of making this show. As far as getting them to where we wanted them to be, was a lot of direction actually happens in the office. So when you sit down with them, or during that time, because COVID was still at its peak, so a lot of Zoom calls, you sort of rehearse it out, you talk to them, get them to that tone. A lot of people very naturally like that also. So Anbu, I decided to use his own natural style, let that flourish.
I believe he's a YouTube star. That's how you discovered him.
He is quite a big YouTube star down there.
Like, share, and subscribe.
And if you look at Vaishali, who plays the Khansama, or Malika, they are theatre people, and they had to really understand the pitch. So when I told them, you guys are like the two witches of Macbeth. I mean, we don't have three. So then they got it. I mean, and they came to the. So different. It was different with different people. Maintaining that was because we shot for about 6 months, so there were huge gaps. So maintaining that, sometimes you have to be on your toes. You have to be alert so that you don't forget. But these are a great bunch of people, not just actors, but a great bunch of people who really wanted to do a good job, and that really helps a director, man.
I have to tell you, Arvind Chetty is such a joy to watch, and it's so fun just to watch him swear. I feel like I just want a supercut of the Arvind Chetty insults. I also have to ask, when you were casting and everyone was reading the script, once you realized the murder and death rate of this show, was the cast just like flipping through the script just to see, like, do I make it?
Yeah, I wanted to top Sonchirya. Unfortunately, I couldn't. But no, I mean, it's fun to have a good body count, high body count, and it's a virtue of series. I mean, if the best series have one murder per episode. I mean, be it Game of Thrones.
That's the secret. Yeah, writers in the audience. At least one murder per episode, especially if it's a rom-com.
That's the key to writing great series. So yeah, so we had a great high body count, and we were enjoying doing it. I mean, make you fall in love with the character and then fucking kill them.
Speaking of killing, Konkona, I want to talk about Swati, because one thing that's very interesting about her is when we start the show, all we know about her is for 20 years she's been in this marriage to this man who clearly dismisses her and sidelines her. But when things start happening and, these sort of insane things, she really seems almost born for this. She immediately swings into action. She seems to get some sort of joy from being on top of this and just in that race against the authorities, covering her tracks. So where does this come from? It just almost, you have this like criminal mastermind element. Was it always within her? Where did it really come from?
I think that Abhishek and the writers will be able to answer this better. But just from what I felt after watching it, really, not even that I'm not sure how consciously I felt it during prep or shoot, is that, she has spent a lifetime navigating difficult people. She is constantly getting her way by subverting other things. She's never getting her way properly. She's constantly doing a lot of jugaad, managing things, she's anyway performing, for Prabhakar, for whatever, for Umesh and her world. I think that a lot of women probably have to do that. So when these things came, they were just like, okay, so now this and that too, I'm good. She's obviously a very capable and intelligent woman, and she's not really given, credit for it.
I have to tell you, my favorite Swati scene, at least from these 2 episodes, is when Umesh's eye is literally melting off on the hospital bed, and she's so annoyed that, she wasn't told about the blackmail, and now time and a place. You mentioned the writers, Abhishek, I want to ask about this writer's room because I sense that it must have been a very fun process. My theory is, the one thing I thought when I watched this is, find someone who loves you as much as these writers and you enjoy putting these characters into very uncomfortable situations. So was that a joy? Were you just sitting there just thinking of how much more you could really just mess with them and make their lives difficult?
Yeah, I mean, it was also navigating through a lot of uncharted territory because we didn't know what was going to happen, and that old cliche that after a point the characters lead the way, that also came to work over here. There were times when we went ahead with a certain theory in mind and we sort of wrote it that way, but we came back because it was not working for all of us. So it was a little bit of a hard work. It was a lot of back and forth, a lot of rewriting, and we were all doing it on Zoom. And now we continue to work on Zoom, although there's no pandemic. So there was a lot of writing and rewriting, and especially at the beat sheet stage, we kept reworking things. And we really didn't give it a conscious thought, I think, that it should be very pacey, or it should be, one after the other things are, it's almost like a domino, things are falling apart. We really didn't give it a conscious thought. It just so happened that that's the nature of this story, and it was telling us that you got to do it like this. And we just went along with it after a point. I mean, we just stuck to our guns that we keep the tenor intact, we keep the tone intact, and we did have a lot of fun doing it, but it was hard work too.
Was there ever a moment in the writers' room of, can we do that? Are we taking it too far? Is that like?
Yes. Yes. We had like we had 3 versions of the climax, as far as I remember. We had, many other things. There was always the danger of us doing too much. So, but we kind of negotiated through it. I think being at home during the lockdown really helped, because this was the only entertainment I was having in my life: the writing of the script.
I imagine it was a very entertaining process. I will ask just one more question, then we'll open it up to the audience for any questions. For the both of you, because there are some really outrageous, insane sequences in the show, what was the weirdest piece of direction you ever got from Abhishek for a scene?
So it was around 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and I had to do this sequence of the bathtub where she just goes away, and
Which is very difficult to
acid falls on my face. So that was the time I said कि क्या अभिषेक कैसे करना है, क्या किस तरह से चाहिए तुमको? नहीं, कुछ नहीं करो सर, वो चैपलिन जिस तरह से करता है ना वैसे कर दो कुछ. सर चैपलिन तो कुछ धरती पे करता है, मुझे हवा में कैसे करूँगा? So they started shooting. The moment my feet went up and I started doing some bizarre thing, he said, "Wow, brilliant." So I know Abhishek Chaubey, kind of a director who you would presume that he would really applaud you for something more subtle, more potent. He was really applauding me for putting my feet up in the air, and I was going completely. It was all But in the end, what happens that that you are in the good hand. Your director knows what he's actually looking for in that kind of a sequence. There are few scenes which are going to come in few episodes where there's a lake sequence which was so bizarre to shoot.
Yeah, we shot in one day, and there's a lot of physical comedy.
Yeah,
in
it's
the
all
show.
physical
We were not going to
comedy.
shy. I mean, I'm going to stoop. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah. So-
Anything for a laugh. So we did a lot of physical comedy, and physical comedy is extremely hard to do. You immediately find respect for people who Mr. Bean kind of thing. Like so hard to do.
It's very hard to do. And also, when I was doing it, I suddenly got confirmation that there is someone who actually believe in the same theory. I always say that, it's never about the subtle acting. There's nothing called subtle acting. There's bad acting, there's a good acting. Okay? There's nothing called subtle acting. Your pitch is decided by the character that you sketch, or the characterization, or the way in collaboration with the director. All the time, subtle acting is lazy acting, but not.
Yeah, I
working
mean,
on
they
it.
internalize it and keep it inside.
Keep
only.
it inside only.
Last question. What was all of your reactions the first time you saw Manoj in the creepy eye prosthetics?
I thought it was beautiful. I mean, I thought.
I have many photographs and selfies with it.
Yeah, and we worked on it quite a bit. I mean, there's the number of look tests. Zubi Joel who did it. But yeah, it was. I think my reaction was.
No,
Beautiful.
so once I said, instead of that, can I just do it myself and act? Then our cameraman Manoj, He said, no, no, sir, वो मत करो, बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगी आपको. So they were having my back all the time, the cinematographer, the director, everyone. So each and every role that I have played in this, Konkona was having her problem with the lines because she had to make it her own. So sometimes I'm talking, sometimes I'm Abhishek and I are talking very, with so much intensity about my performance and how it should be approached. And suddenly I see Konkona coming to me and rehearsing her own lines and thinking that I'm the
abusing
character.
him. ये सब तुम्हारी वजह से हो
ये
रहा है.
सब तुम्हारी वजह से हो रहा है. And I'm talking to Abhishek. I said, Coco, you want me to rehearse? No, you just you carry on. But my problem was, every character, like if I'm playing Prabhakar in the morning or afternoon, Umesh or Pramesh in the evening, each and every character had different challenges which I wanted some kind of an answer that day from Abhishek. So yeah, I mean, we were having fun, but at the same time, it was really confusing. And clearly, my director sometimes didn't have an clear answer, and we thought that if it is working on the monitor, if it is working with in front of our naked eyes, then let's go ahead with so we were taking chances.
Well, I can tell you it worked. We will now open it up for any questions in the audience. Anyone want to raise your hand? If not, I have 19 more things. We have a question there, 2 questions there.
My question is for Abhishek sir. In this series, the characters are set in a town in southern India. So, like the masses and the common people there, they don't speak the Hindi language. So, how do you manage the dialogues and the conversation happening between the characters and the things that they are saying, giving it subtitles and like writing the dialogues in Hindi, some dialogues in the local language and some dialogues in Hindi or English, which is understood by all.
Yeah, I understand. We wrote out we knew what lines are going to be in Tamil. We wrote them out in, none of us know Tamil, none of the writers or me. And we wrote it out in English. And then we got a fabulous dialogue writer, Siva Anant, who collaborated with us to do the Tamil dialogue. And my effort was, I mean, Tamil is not a language that I know, but what I tried to do, in the prep stage was understand the lines completely as much as possible. Like I could not, of course, speak the language, but I got its essence, the phrases, what they mean. And in that sense, I understood, and now I understand a little bit of Tamil now, because of that. And, when you, all the actors who were speaking Tamil, I mean, they knew their way around the language. So they were supremely confident. We had a great language coach on set, Ramnath, who was helping Coco and Manoj sir whenever they had to speak. Or Sayaji sir is very experienced. He's, done Tamil and Telugu films, so he picked it up really quickly. So you by the time you're shooting it, it's the 150th time you're working on that dialogue, right? So you've got a sense of it. You've got a sense of that meter. You know how it sounds. You've had it enacted. So it can work. I mean, this was harder than say Urta Punjab. Punjabi is an easier language to understand and speak. Being from North India, but still I worked my way around it. I mean, filmmaking isn't easy, so it's okay.
And I want to thank Manoj sir because of his statement on his fitness and the dinner statement he made. My mother started my father's salad diet, and he's just he's only having salads for dinner only.
So if you ever have any questions about whether artists can have an impact, they can.
His fitness journey started because of Manoj sir. So thank you, sir.
I must tell you that is overhyped. Okay. And Netflix, when they started doing the promotion for Killer Soup, they put a morphed body of mine, and now that has put me under pressure. Okay?
So you shouldn't have revealed that the people are going crazy over that.
And that's not my fault. They have done it. Netflix has done it. I have never claimed that I have six-pack. I have never. And I don't want to have it. Believe me.
So you broke the myth.
Any other questions? Ideally not about fitness and nutrition. That'll be great.
I like the first scene in which you are having the paya. So, question to Manoj, how did you manage the killer burp?
I can do it right now.
What's the secret to burp acting?
I don't know. I always thought that, if I have to do it, I should know it. I should know how to do it. I can do it at will. Even Coco can do it at will.
It's an actor thing.
It's an actor thing.
Any other questions? We have another question there.
So this has to do with the last scene of the second episode. I had a feeling that Swati is going to push the new guy down. I don't know if I wanted that to happen or not, but my question is, was that in your mind as a writer? And if it was, why did you not choose to do it?
No, she had all in. She's walking like that. So she's not pushing anything. As far as I can tell. So yeah, she has all the intent to get rid of this man, very dangerous man. But it just so happens. I mean, these guys are not very smart criminals. Yeah, I mean, they're just lucky or unlucky, and things just happen by themselves. This is the kind of world it is. And वो बस गिर गया यार अभी क्या कर रहे हैं उसका.
Any other questions? We have
Hi.
one at the back.
Hi, my question is for Abhishek. This is regarding, you guys talked about tone a lot. You mentioned that even you were not clear how to get the pitch right. So my question to you is that how does one achieve that, and how does one communicate to various departments and manage that coherence? What is the Abhishek Chaubey magic? Like, what does...
No, there's nothing. I mean, this is exactly what filmmaking is. I mean,
Yeah.
working with your team and your crew and and your cast. And I repeat what I said earlier. A lot of filmmaking happens in prep, in the office. So when you sit down, with your production designer, when Tia, Manoj, Shivang, all of us, when we sat down, we discussed what we were looking for. Given the mood of the show, we choose colors and the palette on all of those things together. A lot comes from them, and when you push technicians, wonderful technicians like this in the right direction, they give you a lot of gift. They come up with a lot of ideas, and you as a filmmaker, I guess what you need to do is develop a good instinct for the material. Everybody was on board after the reading with the tone. They kind of understood where we want to go with them. So yeah, and casting well and crewing up well is a primary responsibility of the director, because if you do that well, then your life becomes very simple. Yeah.
I think we had one question there. Sonia.
Hello, sir. Good evening. So I wanted to ask that there was a lot of absurdity with which the series or the episode started. Was it for the sake of black comedy, which you mentioned earlier?
No, it's for its own sake. I mean, that is that is the story. I mean, if I were to, I don't think that we've written a story and then chalo isko is tone mein karte hain. We've not done that. The mood of the show, the tone of the show goes hand in hand with what the story is. This story, in any other, I personally believe, if we make it cinema verite style, it looks stupid. So I don't think, I mean, this tone was always there. This is it's not for anybody, anything's sake.
Okay, what was that theme or what was that inspiration which was there to make this particular theme which was in your mind for Killer Show?
It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Just and I think that's a great reason to make the show. It's just going to be a lot of fun, very enjoyable. Does the show say something? I guess you have 6 episodes to go and you'll figure it out. And even if you don't, you'll still have a good time.
That's most important. Thank you so much.
I think we have time for 1 or 2 questions unless I get shouted at. You've got one right here.
Well, firstly, a huge fan of all 3 of you. My question is to Manoj sir. What would you say went into the prep for this? Well, both these roles.
To tell you honestly, I've only done the readings, reading of the script as many times as possible. Worked on the limping and
The
texture
burping.
and burping and the texture of the voice. That's all. After that, I knew that it's going to be a different one. I knew that I don't have the luxury of getting into the skin of the character, because there's going to be 3, that I'll be dealing with in one day. Also, somewhere I knew that it's going to be a workshop kind of a process for me, because in the morning you're doing one character, in the afternoon you're doing some other character, and the third one in the evening. So I was open to that kind of a challenge, and with a lot of smile and always looking forward to having more fun and exploring a different aspect of the of that very character that I was I was given to do. Believe me, I was not stressed out. I was not nervous. Only thing that it was a lot more excitement. How Umesh will now respond to this? What kind of response Prabhakar will have to this situation, or the third one, Pramesh, that we call, how he is going to be managing to be Prabhakar in this situation. So always looking forward to more and more exploration, more, and at the same time, I was working with people who were so good at their job, and we were getting along so well. We, famously well with, with each other. Always looking forward to doing that scene together. Sayaji Shinde, I collaborated with him after so many years. He's such an amazing friend of mine, and I was looking forward to be working with him. So all the scenes that I have done with him really worked out. We worked out on those, finer nuances that you'll get to see in few episodes that we'll be watching in the third or fourth one or fifth one. We were all working together. I mean, Coco is such an amazing actor. Just looking at her hard work, looking at the silences that she used to work upon, and Abhishek, everybody knows, the kind of genius that he is when it comes to really crafting crafting his his work. For me, it was always looking forward. I was always assured on the set. Let me tell you, I was never nervous. But yes, challenges were always there. But I knew that we are going to find something very new and very exciting, with all of these people.
I think that is a good note to end it on. I think the words you put in, Manoj, I think new and exciting is a great way to put it. I really do feel this is such a great start to the year. It is such a delicious show. So congratulations to all three of you. Thank you to Jio MAMI for arranging the screening. And you can watch the rest of Killer Soup day after tomorrow on Netflix. So
12
make sure
o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.